As someone who's been so closely associated with Villanova for so long, how does it feel kind of stepping into Yukon territory and sort of switching allegiances, I guess? Is it a little bit of strange feeling, or is it a good feeling?
No, I mean honestly, it's a great feeling. As a player, I was recruited um, somewhat by Coach Calhoun back in the day, and Tom Moore, who's on the staff here, was actually a part of that. So it was, I mean, back then, and it's been this way, right? Um, UConn has always been one of the most prestigious basketball programs in the country, if not the best, and during that time period, that's what it was. And I was extremely excited and grateful to get to know Coach a little bit. And now to see this come full circle, I mean, it's a great opportunity for myself, for my family. I played at Villanova. I love what we did there. I'll always be a part of that, but that was the last chapter, and now it's time to move on and kind of be a part of this staff and do whatever I can to help this program be successful.
All of you known Coach Hurley. Got to know him over the years.
Yeah, so we go way back when Coach Hurley, he was an assistant at Rutgers. He was recruiting me early in high school when I was a freshman, sophomore. So I got a chance to really get to know him then. And then battling each other in high school. I was at St. Patrick's High School in Elizabeth, and he was at St. Benedict's in Newark. So we had some good competitive moments. And obviously the Hurley family and his dad, we battled St. Anthony's every year for the parochial B. So I think the relationship from back then has helped, where I am right now, and just knowing what a competitor I am and how hard I like to work and try and do great things on the floor as a player and now as a coach. So we've known each other for a long time, and then just battling over the years, being at Villanova and battling, you know, coach during his time here, and just watching where they've taken the program has been extremely impressive, you know.
And Mike Wayne Norman, Yukon Radio. Good to see you in that Yukon shirt. What will your responsibilities be with Coach Hurley and his staff? I assume working with the guards and obviously recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of a jack of all trades. We haven't really gotten into specifics yet, but just going through this process, I think that's something that has been talked about. Just working with the guards and shooting, and whether it be on the offensive end or defensive end. Recruiting is obviously a big thing. Being a Northeast guy, I think I can, help in that area as well. And then really, I'm just trying to fill whatever role they need me to do here. I'm just excited to help out.
Are you muted?
No, not yet.
I can't hear anybody. Can everybody hear me? Mike, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're good. Yep.
Okay. Oh, now I can hear you. Wonderful. All right. Anyway, I was just wondering two things. If you could share what Jay Wright has meant to you personally and professionally, maybe some things you learned from him along the way about how to treat people and teach people and coach people. And also, Mike, if you could share some of your memories, like those mid 2000 Villanova teams and Yukon teams were so good, and they had such contrasting styles. You guys with the four guards, and Yukon had like Hilton Armstrong, Josh Boone, all these massive dudes. It made for some beautiful basketball for the collision of contrasting styles. If you could just share some thoughts on those two things, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Coach Wright to me is like a father figure, a mentor. He took a chance on me when I was in high school, and he just saw something special in me as a player. My competitiveness, my work ethic, my feel for the game, my passion. And then going through that process with him as a player, just instilling attitude, and honestly, just helping me mature and grow as a man. And as a player, that really went a long way for me, just being able to handle different things that are thrown at you, during those years of 18 to 22. And then I had a chance to go play overseas. And then when I came back on staff in 15, 16, um, he was the same guy he was when I was a player as a coach, but I got to see that other side of it, and he really introduced me to the coaching profession. And I think attention to detail, his ability to bring it every day, and his energy, and then like you brought up, just his humility and who he is as a person, and the relationships and the way he treats people, no matter who you are, right? You could be the best player on the team. You could be our last guy, or a practice player. You could be the associate head coach. You could be a student manager, right? We always respected, or he always respected people as if they were, just good, good people. So
Mhm.
I think that was a big piece of what I learned from him. And again, he worked hard,
Yeah.
and a lot of people didn't get a chance to see that, right? Because you only saw the product, but he was about bringing it every day, and making sure that we practiced, as hard as we could, and we're competitive. And I think that's kind of what transpired with those teams in the early 2000s, with Randy Foy and Kyle Lowry and Alan Ray and myself and four guards. We were smaller. We had to be tenacious. We had to be connected. We had to play harder than the other teams. And then when we were going up against Connecticut, I mean, their front line and their size was just, at times it was just overpowering, and
Mhm.
we got to a point where we were older. It was my junior year, it was Randy and Alan's senior year. And we started to figure some things out, and we had some battles. I remember the game at Wells Fargo Center. I think they were ranked number one, we were ranked number four. One of my biggest moments was hitting a three on the right wing. When we took the lead in I think it was the second half, and we kind of just separated ourselves from there. And then we came, back onto campus here in Stores, and we lost a, tough one against them. But, you know, it was always that constant battle, and we really respected what they were doing here. And, they were always the team that we were chasing.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Yep.
You were there when Scotty Reynolds went for 40 too, right?
Yeah. 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 Scotty was a talented freshman, man. I enjoyed playing with him. That was my senior year. And he had an unbelievable game. I remember just being enamored by the shots he was making, and going back and watching that game. It was a big time performance. It was exciting being a part of that. But always playing here on campus, or at the XL Center, like it's just it's an exciting atmosphere and environment. Um, they don't call it the basketball capital of the world for no reason. The fans are big time supporters, and everybody's into this program, which is special.
You just wanted to ask, Mike, were you surprised? I mean, I know it's the way it is. New staff comes in, changes are going to be made. Were you surprised that you weren't kept on at Villanova, or is that something you kind of assume might happen?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, having been in the business, probably not as long as some other guys, and but understanding like that's a part of it, right? And we had a great opportunity when Coach Wright retired. Kyle came in and he kept us, which was, much appreciated. And we had a chance to really, run the program, and try and keep it to where it was. But that's just a part of the business, and I really didn't expect to be kept. If that opportunity was given, right, then I would have had to make a decision, whether or not I was staying. Um, but that I think that's just the nature of the business. And then when this opportunity came about, it was just like no brainer, you know.
Mike, now that you're like a month removed from it, how valuable was the experience to coach the team for those three postseason games and whatever else, whatever other responsibilities you had as acting head coach there? Brief, but I'm sure there's a lot of value in what you had to do those few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unfortunate scenario just because of how everything kind of transpired with, Kyle being let go and then me being approached with the opportunity. I really looked at it as a chance, obviously, to gain experience as a head coach, but really to give back to the University of Villanova. They may have done a lot for me and my family, and then our team in general. I felt like we had a good team. Those guys worked hard all year. I gave them an opportunity to kind of put themselves on a platform, to continue to get exposure. A lot of those guys have dreams and aspirations of playing on the next level. So I thought it was a great opportunity. And our staff did a great job. Our assistant coaches were very supportive and they helped me a lot. So I think being in that position for about 2 weeks was definitely an opportunity, really of a lifetime, because not many guys get a chance to be the head coach, especially at Villanova, even if it was just for a short period of time. But I did learn a lot, and I really, it was a value experience that I think will help me hopefully here, knowing Coach Hurley and what he has to go through every day. And then hopefully moving forward at some point, whenever that time comes, to being able to run my own program.
Thanks.
Mike, you were part of two national championships at Villanova as as a coach, pardon me. And then you competed against Yukon when they won back-to-back national championships. What are the similarities in those experiences in terms of, coaching a national champ and then, competing against national champions like Yukon had been here 2 of the last 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts from the top, honestly. And I think, Coach Wright, Coach Hurley, I've only been here for one day, but you can just tell everybody's connected. Everybody has the same goal in mind. And I think when you get people to sacrifice and be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, special things happen, right? And those UConn teams were just so connected, obviously talented, but talent only gets you so far, right? Especially on this level. And you got to get guys to sacrifice. You got to get guys to want to win. And I think that was one of the special things about both of those teams. You could tell that those guys took pride in each other. They took pride in playing, for UConn, and they had something to prove. And I think going back to our teams at Villanova, we were in a position where we couldn't get over that hump, right? And there was a lot of talk about the round of 32 and, and coach and, Coach Wright. And again, nothing changed in the program, but those guys just got older. They got more experience. They were connected. We brought in Jalen Brunson, who was a freshman in that 15-16 year, and Ryan Archidiakono mentored him, and he taught him what it was to be a Villanova basketball player. So when you have older guys in the program and you have guys teaching everyone else what it's really about, I think that starts to transcend, and those guys start to take pride. And and again, winning is a product of that.
And Mike Wayne Norman again, your thoughts on the roster that you'll be having this year at UConn and on the return of Alex Caravan?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a huge thing for us, with Alex coming back. He's a winner, and he does all the things that you would want a guy in your program, as far as leadership, as far as his competitiveness. Obviously, he's a great player. He gets a lot done on the floor. He's a connector, right? He can play multiple spots. So that was huge. That was huge for the program. And these guys did a great job, getting that done. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to work with, Solo Ball, very familiar with him, obviously, and he made a huge jump from his first year to his second. Um, Terrace Reed, I thought, anytime they put him in the game last year, we were, we were fearing for our lives. We were hoping that he didn't play as much. And, he's a load on the inside. He's a great player. And I know he's working on his game and trying to expand that. And then guys coming off the bench with Ross and, Jalen Stewart, those guys are, again, guys that can play multiple spots. They're going to bring an edge, a competitiveness, and skill set. And I know they're going to have a great summer. And then the transfers, guys that are coming in, those guys are talented, Silas and Malachi. And so I'm excited to work with these guys. I mean, I really think we have a team that, again, we're contending for a national championship, and having seen that here and competed against it, and then now with those guys and the roster that we have, the freshmen coming in, those guys are going to bring big time, um, you know, positive to positiveness to the roster as well, and a lot of skill and size, and Braylon Mullins and Eric Rebane. So I'm really excited, man. I'm excited to get to work with these guys.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mike.
Coach.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Have a good one.